Example number 7 asks us to determine if the limit as x approaches 0 of the absolute value of x over x exists. And if it does, then we should go ahead and find that value. Now here's what you're going to notice. When x, I'm going to make this into a piecewise defined function. Okay, so f of x equaling to the absolute value of x over x takes on the exact same values. This is just a different way of writing it. When x is greater than or equal to 0, then the absolute value of x is equal to x, which means that I would get x, which implies that I would get that the absolute value of x over x is equal to x over x, and that's equal to 1. So if I start graphing this guy out, hang on one second, let me go grab a straight edge here. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll draw this guy out here. Just to get an idea what the graph looks like, when x is positive over on this side, we always take on the value 1, and at 0, this function right here is not defined, right? Because we're dividing by 0. So at 0, there's nothing. So when I say this, I should say when it's strictly greater than 0. Okay? Now, what happens when x is less than 0? When x is less than 0, the absolute value of x, I'll write it here actually, the absolute value of x is equal to negative x, which implies that the absolute value of x over x is equal to negative x over x, which is negative 1. Just like this. Now, if you just look at this graph, guys, the limits, we can't do a direct substitution here because it's discontinuous. There's discontinuity. I spelled that wrong, but whatever. Okay. So look, as you're coming in from this side, the limit is different than if you're coming in from this side. So this limit clearly can't exist, and we can't do a direct substitution because we have a lack of continuity. If you try a direct substitution, you get the absolute value of 0 over 0, which is 0 over 0, and that is not defined. And even more importantly, just since it's not defined, it's still in a determinate form, but you can see clearly that this limit can exist from at 0. Now, the limit at any other value, any other x value I pick, the limit exists. It's either 1 or it's negative 1. But here at 0, I've got an issue.